Yeah, we can start.
Hari Om. Welcome to all of you. As a matter of process, we will start with one chanting of Om in low pitch with prolonged makar. For that, sit comfortably. स्वस्थ शरीर शांत चेहरा. Awareness of postural pattern. Awareness of natural and normal breathing. For chanting, exhale out completely. Hold on. Slowly and deeply inhale. Swami. Hari Om. At the outset, let us memorize our beloved Guruji, Yogacharya Sri Krishna Gavare, founder of Ghantali Mitra Mandal, Thane. And we are happy to celebrate 60th year, Diamond Jubilee year of Ghantali Mitra Mandal. It was formed in 1965, initially as a social institution without any involvement of yoga, to be frank. In 1971, incidentally, Yogacharya Vyavahare came into contact with Yogacharya Sahasrabuddha Guruji, who was disciple of Swami Satyananda Saraswati and located in Thane after retirement. And from 71 onward, the journey of yoga in the life of institution of Ghantali Mitra Mandal started. It was a very small start, no doubt. Hardly there were classes on daily basis. To be frank, initially the first some months, Guruji took the classes in his own house. Yogacharya Vyavaraji took the classes in his own house. And subsequently we got one place in one school stage. And from there the journey started. And with the great grace of God and with the efforts of all, and of course blessings of Guruji, now we have got three own places in Thane city where we conduct various classes of yoga. Daily basis we are conducting 15 batches at different timings, offline online model. COVID has given us one more avenue to reach out with the people, which otherwise it was not possible. Though it is not good to be online, it is better doing nothing but to do something. So both the batches are conducted. There are some special batches for yoga therapy also. Presently, we are conducting three different dimensions of therapy. One is for major common ailments, which may be connected with some normal disorders. That is conducted 6 to 7 in the morning. The batch which is conducted for pregnant women cannot be called as a therapy batch, but it's a basically corrective batch. One more batch we are conducting that is connected with diabetes management and control. And it is nearly honor to say that this is 75th batch going on. Each batch is of 2 months. So consecutively from first batch till 75th batch, it is full with the people. Very interestingly, that is going on. One more batch we have started as a matter of special uh, event of this 60th year. We are going to conduct 3 months workshop on lifestyle based disorders. And this one we have taken, first one is about PCOS. This is going to be the third month of PCOS batch. It is conducted at three different places and it is taken offline. It is not done online. So nearly 20 females are attending that batch. Today only we conducted Labhu Shankar Prakshalan for them and we do various lecturings connected with the topic by different experts. Next month we are going to organize the batch on obesity control and management. So that is going to be the next batch. So every batch will be of 3 months. It is basically not aiming as a therapy, but to correct some these lifestyle disorders. One more interesting batch is getting organized for nearly 2.5 years, which unfortunately gets unnoticed, to be frank. But this must be mentioned today, though it is not a therapy, it is again entering the life of some people who need attention, that is senior citizens. Senior citizen batch is getting conducted online basis, and it is difficult to believe that it is flooded with more than 100 people. There are two categories of people attending this batch. One is sitting on the chair, and second category is sitting on the mat, and they enjoy this batch beyond expectation. Those who are really lonely in their houses, they get associated at least for a 1 hour with some people like them. They have got a tendency of getting as per their comfort. They do the thing as per their comfort, and they don't like holidays. Very interestingly, they don't like holidays. So they are insisting that our batch should be daily basis, not even a Sunday should be a holiday. One more interesting aspect of that batch is it is going on with assembly, online assembly of the senior citizens. They do some performances, they do some handicrafts and all these things. So that is a really phenomenal work going on in that area. This month, again, we are having one more interesting aspect of height increasing camp. This is nearly 91st batch going on. 91 batches, 90 batches we have so far conducted, and there are two batches we are going to conduct. One is going to start from tomorrow, Monday, for 15 days. One next batch will be starting immediately in the month of May. One more is getting organized at October. So these batches will be going on, and that is again a scientifically proved project Ghantali Mitra Mandal is organizing. During these 15 days, we get good results of increase in the height, minimum 1 centimeter and maximum 3 to 4 centimeters. So it is for the age group of 11 to 21. So there are good results in both these batches. One batch is offline and other is online. So these are some of the socially relevant aspects which we are conducting. And as a matter of 60th year celebration, every month we have been conducting either online or offline. So first month was inauguration of Diabetes Management Control Batch. It was done by Dr. Vishwasrao Mandlik, chairman of IYA Maharashtra and founder of Yoga Vidyadham Nasik. Second lecture was conducted by Durgadas Sawant. It was connected with natural living during the acute conditions of diseases. Third one was inauguration of PCOS. It was done in the month of February, and this batch will conclude in this particular month. And we are fortunate to have Dr. Anand Balyogi Bhavanani as a fourth speaker, guest speaker. We would have liked to come in Thane in person, but I know it is really difficult because he is also conducting a great event in the month of June, from May to June, on the event of IDY, International Day of Yoga. And we are really blessed to have him here today. A great legacy of yoga this particular person has got and his institution has got. So it is our privilege that we are having this knowledgeable speaker in the field of medical science as well as in yoga. And today it will be a very great feast, to be frank, to yoga lovers to hear him. So with this little bit of extended brief, welcome. I once again welcome Dr. Anand, and I hand over to Dr. Mudra Chaudhary to give introduction, and then Dr. Anand will start his speech. Thank you.
Hari Om. I am very happy to introduce today's speaker for the webinar, today's webinar. Welcome, sir, on GMM's online platform. So, now I will introduce today's speaker in short. Today's speaker, Pudduvai Kallamanwati Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balyogi Bhavanani. His qualification MBBS Doctor, ADY, DPC, DSM, PGDFH, PGDY, FIAY, MD Alternative Medicine, IAYT, DSC Yoga. Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balyogi Bhavanani is Director of the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine and Professor of Yoga Therapy at the Sri Balaji Vidyapith University, Pondicherry. He has served as a member of numerous expert committees of the Ministry of Ayush, including its steering committee of the Yoga Certification Board, National Board for Promotion of Yoga and Naturopathy, Scientific Advisory Committee, and Standing Finance Committee of CCRYN, Expert Committee for Celebration of International Yoga Day and the Yoga and Diabetes Program. He is consultant resource person for the World Health Organization Collaborative Center in Traditional Medicine at MDNIY, New Delhi. He is also Joint Secretary of the Indian Yoga Association and Vice President of the National Yogasana Sports Association. A recipient of the coveted DSc in Yoga from S. Vyasa Yoga University. He is chairman of the International Center for Yoga Education and Research at Anand Ashram, Pondicherry, India, and Yoganjali Natyalayam, the premier institute of yoga and Carnatic music and Bharatnatyam in Pondicherry. He is son and successor of the internationally acclaimed yoga team of Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Gitananda Giri Guru Maharaj and Yogacharini Kallamamani Ammaji Srimati Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani. He is a gold medalist in medical studies with postgraduate diploma in both family health as well as yoga and the advanced diploma in yoga under his illustrious parents in 91-93. A fellow of the Indian Academy of Yoga, he has authored 19 DVDs and 35 books and 36 compilations on yoga as well as published more than 350 journals. His literary works have more than 3750 citations with an H index of 27 and I-10 index of 72. In addition, he is a classical Indian vocalist, percussionist, music composer, and choreographer of Indian classical dance. He is a recognized PhD guide for yoga therapy and is the first Indian to be recognized as an IAYT certified yoga therapist by the International Association of Yoga Therapists, USA. In recent years, he has traveled abroad 20 times and conducted invited talks, public events, workshops, and retreats, and been major presenter at yoga conferences in the UK, USA, Italy, South Africa, Malaysia, Germany, Switzerland, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. He was awarded Pudduvai Kallamamani by Government of Pondicherry for the year 2016. He is an honorary advisor to International Association of Yoga Therapists, Australian Association of Yoga Therapists, and Gitananda Yoga Association worldwide. Such a great knowledgeable personality we have today with us. So now I will request Sir Dr. Ananda Balyogi ji to continue with his today's lecture.
Namaskaram, Dhanyavadaha. Thank you so much, Shri Krishna ji, Mridula ji, and the whole team for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. I would have loved to have been there in person, but well, COVID has gifted us these opportunities to also connect virtually through the online medium. And I think it is so wonderful we can connect across the telewaves also this way. I'm going to be sharing my presentation as today is going to be a session that will have a bridging between our traditional understanding and the modern scientific know-how. And I am trying to synthesize how this traditional wisdom and modern scientific knowledge can come together with a special focus on yoga as a therapy. I would like to congratulate the Ghantali Mitra Mandal, Thane for this Diamond Jubilee celebration. And I remember many years ago meeting Guruji in one of the events at Kaivalya Dhamma, because I'm usually there at Kaivalya Dhamma for the conferences, and we had an opportunity to seek his blessings. And on this moment also, I seek his divine blessings and grace that the institution will continue to grow and glow with all success. I represent a parampara that goes back on one side to Rishi Agastya and other side to Rishi Maharishi Bhrigu himself. And in recent times, Yoga Maharishi Swami Geetananda Giri, my own father, who was the eighth of the Madhavapatis in an illustrious Siddha Yoga Rishi culture Guru Parampara at South India in Pondicherry. And my beloved Ammaji, who's been my mother, my guru, and now for me is a manifestation of divine Shakti in my life. And they are continuing to bless and enable me to share this life of yoga with everyone. Our university in Pondicherry, Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, is a very rare, innovative place where we have an institute of salitogenesis. And this word salitogenesis means all the factors that enable wellness to manifest, as opposed to the focus on disease, which is pathogenesis. So we are trying to move from pathogenesis, a focus on disease, towards salitogenesis, a focus on health. And this has been going on for the past 15 years in this medical university. The term salitogenesis is coming from Latin and Greek. So in Latin, the term salus means health, and genesis is from Greek, which means the source. So in combination, the term means what are the sources of health? Now, already 3,000 years ago, we have a term, swasthya. And swasth in our culture, which is basically very similar, if not the original concept. In salitogenesis, the heart of salitogenesis is called a sense of coherence. And to have that sense of coherence is to have health manifest. And so it is a long-lasting, pervasive, and dynamic feeling that our internal and external, both the antara and bahya, they have to be predictable, and that things will work out as well as possible. This SOC has been shown to have strong correlations to perceived health, mental health, and quality of life. So what are the three components of this sense of coherence? The first one is cognitive, where we feel that I can understand my life, I can understand my world. The second is a coping skill. I can manage my life, I can manage my world. And the third is a motivational aspect. My world has meaning. This is very much in concept with what we call Swadharma in our system of cultural ethos of Bharatiya Sanskriti. So on one side, we have pathogenesis, what is causing disease, how to avoid the problem. It is trying to find a way to remove disease against pain and loss, and we want to survive. But salitogenesis, swasthya, is saying what causes health? How can we reach our potential? Remember, Swami Vivekananda quoted the great Vedic literature when he said all souls are potentially divine. Can we attain that potential? We want the presence of health. We want to promote positive health. And we want to discover how to live life fully. This is where, if you look at illness and wellness, on illness side, we are talking of signs, symptoms, and disability. And that is where the treatment paradigm, that paradigm that looks at pathogenesis, is very useful. But when you look at the entire spectrum, we find that the wellness paradigm, which is salitogenesis and swasth, will also look at disability, will also look at signs and symptoms, but more importantly is promoting positive health through awareness, education, and growth. So we can understand a dynamic state of health. One end of the spectrum is ease, one is disease, sukha and dukkha. And salitogenesis is moving towards that sukhasthanam and giving a dukkha nivarana. Because the pathogenesis is only focused on disease, only on dukkha. And the more you focus on dukkha, the more dukkha there will be. You have to transcend dukkha, as Maharishi Patanjali says, dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. And that is why heyam dukkha managatam has to be there. So we have to look towards a dynamic state. Now, many years ago, Rudyard Kipling, who's famous for the Jungle Book, he made a statement, east is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. But my apologies, sorry, Mr. Kipling, the east and west have met through yoga. And his most famous character, Mowgli, is performing asanas these days, as you can see in this cartoon, where they now have asanas with Mowgli also happening. This dichotomy has been overcome in recent times. Many Eastern healing traditions are slowly and steadily percolating healthcare systems worldwide, especially the mind-body therapies, because they are focusing on health promotion, utilizing the intrinsic connections that exist between the human brain, the mind, the body, and individual behavior. Because isn't that what yoga is all about? It is about integration. Now you go to the UK and the National Health Service, they are actually publishing on the website that yoga is useful. They say there is some evidence that yoga practice can help people who have high blood pressure, heart disease, aches and pains, including lower back pain, and please note this part, Your Honor, depression and stress, which is the biggest pandemic we are facing, bigger than COVID, is depression and stress. And even the National Health Service in the UK has admitted this. Go to the USA, they have a National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. And they did a survey where they found, this was done in 2017, we're awaiting a new one, where there was a rise in how much people were using yoga and how much people were using meditation. I must, however, point out, though in the Western countries, yoga and meditation are presented separately, we must remember dhyana is the heart of Ashtanga Yoga. And hence, that dhyanam is something we cannot separate. Nowadays, people talk of yoga and meditation, yoga and pranayama. I don't know when they'll say yoga and asana, because they have equated yoga with asana. Ashtanga Yoga is a Purna Swarupa Yoga, in which dhyana is the hridaya. In that survey, they said, why do people practice yoga? 58% to maintain health and well-being. 16% to treat specific medical conditions, especially musculoskeletal conditions. And what I was very happy in the USA is 22% of them said the doctor recommended it. This is something which we want to make sure that every doctor in India should be recommending yoga. That is our goal at our institute and our university. They also looked at a America study where they looked at yoga in America and they said, why do people do yoga? Well, they said for flexibility. Second is stress relief, general fitness. They wanted to improve overall health and have physical fitness. And 86% of the practitioners reported a strong sense of mental clarity. 73% said we are physically more strong because of yoga. And what I love about this survey, 79% were giving back to the community. Yoga was inducing a seva bhavana. Isn't that what yoga is about? Serving our own fellow human beings and all the living beings. Because in yoga, we realize Madatma Sarva Bhutatma. My Atma is not separate. It is the same Atma in everyone. And if you go to the gold standard of research, PubMed, recently I looked at it and I found at that time that 7,488 studies for results were there for yoga therapy in PubMed. I'm sure in the last few months since I Googled this, there have been another 500 studies added. That is the dynamism that has happened. You can see in 1948, there were very few studies, and 2023, at the end of the year, they have showed how much. You can see how that graph is going up. So much research is happening. And so much good quality research also is now finally happening. My own yoga research mentor, Professor Madan Mohanji, has been a pioneer of integrating yoga and modern medicine. And since 1977, when he joined JIPMER in Pondicherry, took yoga to the medical students with an amazing work that was done in Savitri Pranayama of our tradition. And in 2008, we got a chance, thanks to the Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga and that time Department of Ayush, which has become Ministry of Ayush, to introduce yoga to medical students. And you can see how the medical students, all of them were getting the yoga practice. This has been done for nearly 40 years by Madan Mohan sir at JIPMER. He then joined our university, where we began our Center for Yoga Therapy, that today is an institute of salitogenesis and complementary medicine. Along with my beloved father, an old photo of both of them. In 1982, we are celebrating 42 years of that. A first study that was on oxygen consumption and ventilatory changes during Savitri Pranayama and Shavasana. And this is here Dr. Madan Mohan at our ashram, listening to a beautiful lecture by my dear yoga uncle, I call him Sri B.K. Sayangarji, in one of the conferences held in 1983 at Pondicherry by my beloved father. Same Dr. Madan Mohan has continued to guide us in all our activities. Here you will note three of us, Madan Mohan sir, Udupa and myself. Udupa is at Nimhans, and we were the Om team. A for Ananda, U for Udupa, M for Madan Mohan. So the AUM, Om team, which has published many dozens of research papers. You can find how so many people have in the West now started to take it up. And along with Madan Mohan sir, Bijlani sir, my dear Sadbir Khalsa, Larry Payne, Shirley Tellis, and of course the one and only Dean Ornish, who showed that by a yogic lifestyle, you can actually reverse heart disease and change what used to be considered irreversible. So many amazing textbooks have come out. The principles and practice of yoga and healthcare, yoga therapy and integrative medicine, my own yoga chikitsa books, and another book I will talk about from a dear friend, Acharya Birju, on Patanjali Yoga Sutra, a complete manual of autogene therapy. So here comes the question, yoga and yoga therapy. Because often people are confused. What is yoga therapy? Yoga therapy is a small circle within the bigger circle of yoga. So it is neither separate nor greater than yoga itself. And this is very important we realize this. So when we want to understand the traditional concept and a revised modern understanding, we need to have a communication between the traditional represented by our great Maharishis and the modern represented by our modern doctors. We need to communicate. So if you look at the concept of Panchakosha, for example, we have the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. How can this be understood in modern terms? Well, even our cells, we can say, have a Panchakosha. Because at the cellular level, the Annamaya Kosha of the cell is its structural existence. And how it is structured is in its Annamaya Kosha. A cell will also have functions, which are its Pranamaya Kosha. It has a cellular memory, which is the cellular Manomaya Kosha. There are intelligent feedback mechanisms, which are the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And there is an interaction with every cell in the human body is connected to each other. That is the systemic interactivity, the Anandamaya Kosha. My dear Birju Maharaj has so beautifully put it, how this cosmic consciousness as the macrocosm and material consciousness as microcosm. So we have a pathway which is the creational pathway from macrocosm to microcosm, from the Vishwatma to the Paramatma, the Jivatma and the Atma, which then, as he suggests, can come into the genome as the Atma in the genome, the Chitta, the epigenome, and the Ishvara as Gunatma, and Ishvara as a Linga Purusha. He has given a very beautiful correlation, a book that I highly recommend. Very, very difficult to read, very, very difficult to understand, but amazing cross connection between the genetics and the teachings of the Yoga Sutra. And this is why we have to understand that when we are still in that caterpillar stage, we are limited by ignorance, limitation, bondage, and we have to have the intuitive knowledge to explore the applied epigenetic autophagy is what he has suggested. Coming into a yogic life of transformation. Yoga is all about transformation and transcendence. And then finally, the freedom. So transformation and transcendence happening at the individual level and manifesting our potential. Another beautiful concept we have in psychology, which is called flow. And this flow channel is about you increasing your skills to meet the increasing challenges. And when you come into this experience of flow, you are doing that action, but you are not there. A very beautiful concept, which is very similar to the concept of Bhagavad Gita, Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam. Because that Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam is Yogastha Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Asiddhayo Samabhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate. You have to be doing your action and in the spirit of yoga. And what is that? Nishkama Karma. So that you are doing, but it is not you doing. This in psychology today is called flow, where the person is singing, but they are not singing. The music is lifting them. You are in the Dhyana Purvaka stage, and the Dhyana is experienced. You are not meditating. You are meditation. You are not trying to do Samadhi. You are Samadhi itself. And this is that way that by increasing the challenge, increasing the skill, you can come into that. Because if you don't increase, what will happen? Either you will have anxiety because the challenge is too big, or you are too good for the challenge, you will end up with boredom. And this is why one has to constantly be adapting oneself into that flow channel. And that adaptation of flow channel for me is a manifestation of Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Similarly, we have the balance between sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic is fight or flight. The parasympathetic is rest and digest. And you are finding a homeostatic balance, a dynamic balance between them. What is this balance? It is a balance where you want to rehabilitate and heal by inducing relaxation. Now, modern medicine is always focusing on curing. We want to cure the patient of the disease. We have lost track of healing. Healing is the most important contribution that we can make. And for healing, you need to relax. Without relaxation, there cannot be healing. When you are stressed, you cannot have healing. And that is why we want to educe in all the yoga practices, be it the asana, the pranayama, the yoga nidra. We want to induce and educe a sense of nishpanda. We want to have a relaxation. That prayatna shaitilya is what we want to bring in. And this to me is yoga's greatest contribution to modern healthcare. Because in modern healthcare, we don't have anything that is non-pharmacological to relax and heal. You want to reduce anxiety, we give you one drug and then that drug will have a side effect. But here, yoga as a non-pharmacological, self-directed method of relaxation. Because when you relax, you heal. And again, it is very, very cost-effective. Which is why every hospital, every doctor in the world should be utilizing yoga practices along with whatever pathy they are practicing, be it allopathy, homeopathy, or naturopathy. Another very beautiful concept that we can find an integration is sinus arrhythmia. Sinus arrhythmia is that every time you breathe, it influences your heart rate. So normally what happens is when you are breathing in, the heart rate will go faster. And when you are breathing out, the heart rate will slow down. So as you breathe in, it is loved up, loved up, loved up, loved up, loved up. And as you breathe out, loved up, loved up, love dub, love dub. Now you breathe in, love dub, love dub, love dub, love dub. You breathe out, love dub, love dub, love dub, love dub. This is called heart rate variability. And the better the heart rate variability, the more powerful it is, the more healthy you are. Today on our smart watches, you have HRV can be brought even on a smart watch today. We do it in our research labs. Because what we find is when you are utilizing pranayama ratios where you prolong the exhalation. So I breathe in for 4 counts and I breathe out for 8 counts. I am prolonging the exhalation. And by doing that, I'm enhancing the sinus arrhythmia. I'm enhancing the vagal tone. And I'm inducing and educing a sense of relaxation that will make the heart healthier. And this is why we are focusing on the exhalation. Prachardana vidaranabhyam pranasya is how Patanjali has told us that. When you focus on elongation of the exhalation, that is the key to mastering this heart rate variability, bringing under our conscious control the vagal tone. And the vagal tone is linked to relaxation. Relaxation is linked to healing. Healing is linked to better human potential. Such a simple mechanism, but such an intuitive mechanisms our rishis have talked about. Similarly, if you look at the cardiac cycle, the heart is beating. Systole, diastole, systole, diastole, systole, diastole. Now, what happens in this is that when the heart is beating, the heart is supplying the whole body when it is in systole. So, systole, it pumps the blood to the whole body. It is only in diastole, when the heart relaxes, it supplies itself. That is why I say the heart is a karma yogi. It is always serving others, but sometimes it is forgetting to serve itself. Because it is always pumping blood to every part of the body, nose to toes, but it is not supplying itself. It will only supply itself when it relaxes. So what happens? If my heart rate is very fast, there is not much time for the heart to supply itself. So what do? I start deep breathing. I start to prolong the exhalation. And now what do? The vagal tone comes. The heart rate comes down. When my heart rate comes down, there is more time for diastole. When there's more time for diastole, there's more time for my heart to supply itself. And the coronary perfusion will be enhanced when diastole is extended. And this is why when we do the dirgha swasha, when we do the different pranayamas, and we elongate the exhalation, we slow down the breath, we slow down the heart, we extend the diastole, and now we have a healthy heart that is capable of serving the whole body through the spirit of Nishkama Karma Yoga. But it should be healthy to continue doing that for your whole lifetime. That is why this is so important. Now, when you say extend the exhalation, people say, Dr. Saab, bahut mushkil hai. And you are breathing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you are saying breathe out for 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They say, Hamara bas ke baat nahi hai, it's not possible. They become very dejected. What do? Very simple. You add the sound. Because the moment you add sound, the exhalation phase can be elongated. Very simple. You can do the akara nada. So you breathe in and now you breathe out. And it can keep on going on. You can do the ukara nada. You can do the makara nada. Very easy. Everybody can exhale for a longer time. The moment you add the nada, the moment you add the bijakshara. I always remember one of my patients, he had a heart problem. I said, you have to do this practice. He said, doctor, I have no time. As usual. No time for taking care of health. Busy businessman. I said, what do you do in the morning? He says, I do 45 minutes of Shiva Puja. I said, very good. Start chanting Om Namah Shivaya. And I taught him. How you should chant? Take in a breath, and in one breath, Om Namah Shivaya. What have I done? Extended his elongation. Elongated the exhalation. He is happy. 45 minutes he is doing a Shiva Puja. I am happy. 45 minutes he is doing pranayama through Panchakshara Japa. If I say do pranayama, he has no time. If I say do yoga, he has no time. 6 months later, he comes back. He has beautiful collateral circulation. He doesn't need a bypass. See, this is the thing. We have to find what is suitable for that individual. That is where yoga chikitsa, yoga as a therapy is individualized, personalized care. It is not that all diabetic patients will be given the same therapy. That is not possible in yoga. Modern medicine gives the same drug to everybody. In yoga, we say we are not treating the disease, we are treating the individual who has the disease. That personalization, what will be suitable? If he doesn't like Shiva, he likes Lord Narayana. Okay. Om Namo Narayanaya. I have automatically got him to extend his exhalation. See, this is what you have to do. What is suitable for that individual? And the moment you extend the exhalation, remember sinus arrhythmia we talked about? That when you exhale, your heart rate comes down. So focus on the exhalation. Focus on the exhalation. And automatically in your cardiac cycle, you will have more diastole. Similarly, modern medicine now understands we just don't have two lungs. Each lung has a lower, mid, and upper part physiologically. Anatomically, the left lung only has upper and lower. But physiologically, there are three. Each one has subsections. There are 10 subsections in each lung. It's called Vibhaga. And we can focus our mind by utilizing Sparsha Mudra, placing your hands on the front, side, and back of the lower, mid, and upper parts of the lungs. You can mindfully direct the air and direct the prana into these different parts of the lungs, enhancing a Purna Swasa, so that every part of your lung will be utilized as it is meant to be used. Many times I find in yoga classes, people start teaching pranayama, but the person is not breathing. So they are not breathing, but they are doing pranayama. What we have to understand is that you have to understand how to breathe properly, then only the prana will move. But people come and they are doing like this, but there's no breath at all. Often I find that happen. We have to first teach them, what are your lungs? How can you breathe into the lower part of the lung, the middle part of the lung, the upper part of the lung? And your lungs have a front, side, and back. Even many yoga teachers don't know there's a back side to the lung. So what I do, I put them in a line, like we stood for the election here in Pondicherry on the 19th. You sit in a line, put your hands on the back and ask them to think and focus on the back. And they say, oh my God, Dr. Saab, first time I realized I can breathe into the back of my lungs. We are always thinking only the front is the lung. The lungs are three-dimensional. And that whole 50% we are not thinking about. And if you don't think about it, you will not use it. Because the key mantra here, Yato mana tata prana. Where the mana goes, there the prana will happen. Yato mana tata prana. And that is why the Sparsha Mudra we use, where you start to focus the mind on these areas. And in our tradition, we have a series of practices called Hatena, where we use these 15 asanas to help facilitate healthy breathing. And this is the primary requisite to then learn how to breathe, so that when you do pranayama, it is pranayama and not vayu ayama. Otherwise, it is only vayu ayama. Prana has to move. For prana to move, there has to be mana. Chale vate, chale chittam. Both are connected. But today, what people are doing, they're not even breathing, but they're doing, I call it finger nose exercise. They think they're doing Nadi Shuddhi, Nadi Shodhana, Anulom Vilom. There is no breathing happening. First, we have to breathe. And that is why you can see in this image created by a dear student of mine, when we breathe, this energy on the right and left, how it is moving. When you breathe in, how it is moving upwards and how it is moving upwards when you breathe out. The gold and the silver. And when you look at this, doesn't it seem like a very beautiful image of Ida and Pingala? You will understand the Ida and Pingala energy is flowing when you are using right and left lung. When the energy is flowing in the right and left lung, it is the prana and apana. What Krishna tells us, when you offer prana into apana and apana into prana, it becomes pranayama parayana. That is what is happening there. You are utilizing it. So Ida Pingala are not some concept. You can make them a practice when you breathe properly, focusing on front, side, back, front, side, back, front, side, back. You are creating that beautiful spiral of energy on the right side and left side, which is the Ida and Pingala energies. This is what can happen when we do these practices. It is not the yogis were some crazy people telling there is Ida, there is Pingala, there is Sushumna. These are the energies of the flow. And when we breathe properly, when we manifest the prana, we can experience it. Similarly, when people talk about the prana vayu, lot of confusion, because when they think of prana vayu, they translate it as wind. Because the term vayu is translated as wind. So you can imagine yoga teacher telling a medical doctor, there is a wind in your toe. There is a wind going around your body up to your toe. That doctor will not listen to you. He'll say yoga is stupid because you are not communicated. It is a flow of energy. The Vyana Sarva Shariragaha, says the Shiva Samhita. That Vyana is moving up to your toes. Yes, from nose to toes it is moving, the Vyana. But it is an energy flow. It is not wind. It moves like the wind. It moves like the air. And that is why we have to understand. Hridi prano gude apana samana nabi mandale udana kanta deshasto vyana sarva shariragaha, says the Shiva Samhita. We have to understand what is this prana in the hridaya. Hridi prano. It is the energy, functional energy of respiration. What is the energy of udana? It is the energy of communication. What is the energy of vyana? It is circulation. What is samana? It is the energy of digestion. What is apana? It is the energy of excretion. See, when we explain like this, when the yogis and the medical personalities communicate like this, we can understand things much better. Otherwise, they'll say this is some hypothetical, theory. It is not hypothetical theory. It is a language that both can speak. And when we use this as a yoga chikitsa modality of diagnosis, it can also be a diagnosis. Rather than saying this patient has diabetes and I'm going to give him yoga therapy, what is the prana vayu imbalance in that individual? Is there an udana vayu imbalance that I want to correct? Is there a samana vayu imbalance that I want to correct? And then based on that yogic diagnosis, we give the yoga chikitsa. But you talk to the doctor, you don't say, I am treating the samana vayu. You have to tell him, I am treating the imbalance which is happening in digestive system leading to irritable bowel syndrome. You have to tell him like that. But from the yogic point of view, it is not irritable bowel syndrome, but it is an apana vayu and samana vayu imbalance that we are trying to deal with. This is how we have to explore it in depth. Another concept in modern times, which is very popular, is psychoneuroimmunology. And this became very popular during COVID because everybody realized the stress of COVID was weakening our immune system. Because of COVID, we were afraid. Because of that baya, our immune system went weak. This is called the nervous system interacting with the immune system and the endocrine system and is influenced by what you feel and how you think. So the psyche, your thoughts and emotions, affect the neurology, which is the hypothalamus, impacts the immune system and the whole endocrine system. Now, if you put stress into it, it will worsen it. You put yoga into it, it will become healthier. And how do the yogis understand this? We have our chakra system. And the whole chakra system is a system that is working on the psychoneuroimmunology and psychoneuroendocrinology. And once we understand this, we can bring these systems together. That we are not just working on hypothetical energy centers. We are just not working on some theory. We are working on something that is very understandable, which is there in tradition, but can be understood through a modern medical prism also. And what is the basis of this? Einstein's E is equal to mc square. Because energy is equal to mass speeded up to the square of the speed of light. So what is the speed that we are using here? It is the power of the mind. So when we are working with the chakras and the chakra sadhana, when we are working with the bijakshara mantras, we are utilizing the mind in order to enhance the physical into an energy. We are transforming the physical structure into an energy manifestation. And that is why psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology, what we need to understand, stress, when I put it in, it is coming into the nervous system, endocrine system, immune system, retarding healing. There's a delay in rehabilitation. But then what is happening there? There is a perceived stress. That perception of stress is causing the whole stress reaction. And what does yoga say? The same thing. It says there is psychosomatic disorder, Adi and Vyadi. There are the mental agitations in the Manomaya Kosha, coming into the Pranamaya Kosha with haphazard flow of prana and unstable nadis. And then into the Annamaya Kosha, Ajiranatvam, Atijiranatvam, Kujiranatvam. And all of this hypocellular activity, hypercellular activity and altered cellular activity leading to Vyadi, which are the physical ailments. This is where the concept of Adija Vyadi or Adi Vyadi enables us to understand how the disease is first at a psychic phase, which is at the Vijnanamaya Manomaya Kosha level. It then becomes psychosomatic, where it comes into Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, becomes somatic into the body through the Pranamaya and Annamaya, and the final target organ damage is organic phase, where it is settled into the Annamaya Kosha. We need to try to deal with the Vyadi when it is still in the psychic and psychosomatic, because once it comes into somatic and organic, yoga can only be an adjuvant therapy at that point, along with other systems, because the disease has become so fixed. One of my mentors, Dr. W. Selvamurthy, who was former director DRDO and currently with the Amity University, he gave a talk at our university some time back, and he said, yoga is enabling and empowering the individual to modify the perception of the stressor, optimize the response to them, and efficiently release the pent-up stress. And so it modifies the perception, optimizes the response, and efficiently releases. It is a 3-in-1 action that yoga has against stress. Coming back to Antonovsky and the salitogenesis concept, there is a stressor coming into you. There is a stressor in your life. How you perceive that stressor. When you have a yoga bhavana, a yoga drishti, you can use that stressor to become a better version of yourself, which is salitogenesis, H+. But if not, if you have a negative mindset on that stressor, you will come into pathogenesis, breakdown, and lose your health into H negative. So the stressor is the same. How you perceive the stressor will decide whether you go on the salutogenic pathway towards health or pathogenic pathway towards disease. This is why yoga, when it comes into the nervous system, endocrine system, and immune system, is enhancing healing and facilitating rehabilitation. Again, a very ancient Plato tells us the treatment of the part shouldn't be attempted without a treatment of the entirety. Treatment of the body without treating the mind and soul is a useless waste of time. You have to look at who that individual is. You have to understand that Purna Swarupa. And this is why yoga, according to Dr. B. Ramamurthy, the father of neurosurgery, he says it reorients the functional hierarchy of the entire nervous system. It can prevent and combat stress-borne disorders. And the most important aspect, it is promotive, preventive, and maybe curative. It is a safe, non-pharmacological therapy. This is an important selling point in modern healthcare. And it is an effective lifestyle adjuvant that can reduce the drug dosage and improve quality of life. We can help to manage the psychosomatic stress disorders like diabetes, hypertension, asthma, IBS, etc. Reduce and eliminate the drug dosage. But one thing which I always stress is, we yoga therapists must work in tandem with the medical doctors so that when they are receiving medical treatment, we are working as a team, an integrative healthcare team. And that is why collaboration is more important than competition. Dr. Dean Ornish has said, yoga is a system of perfect tools to achieve union, moksha, as well as healing. And my own father, when he had an accident and broke his back in the 80s, he said, modern medicine kept me alive, but yoga gave me back my life. And that is where we can work together in that integrative team through the diet, relaxation, reduce the expenditure. Again, for aging, yoga is anti-aging, regenerating and creating a young at heart society. Psychotherapy, women's health, research, it can all come into those places. And it has been shown that yoga can reverse heart disease. I talked about how that can happen. Again, breathing disorders, children with special needs, autism spectrum, and, intellectually impaired children, lot of potential for yoga that we have been seeing. Metabolic syndrome, which is a crisis we are all facing. And again, obsessive compulsive disorder and perceived stress, anxiety, and depression. Sometime back, Sadhbir Khalsa and team did a work, and they said that the 3 main disorders where yoga is being used worldwide: mental health, cardiovascular disease, and respiratory disease. These are the places where it is working and a lot of scope for practices there. So when we talk of yoga as a therapy, it is working at body, it is working at mind, and it is working at the spirit. So at the level of the body, it is creating healing and restoring function. At the level of mind, it is reducing suffering and creating healing. And at the level of the spirit, we create community and we reduce suffering. And this is why we have to do a leap up from pathogenic orientation to salutogenic. Because as long as you're in pathogenesis, you'll only be in disease oriented. We have to come towards that health, promoting positive health. Because what does the World Health Organization say? Health is a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Well, they have said it recently. Long ago, so long ago, very, very long ago, Maharishi Patanjali has given us Yama Niyama for social health dimension. He has given us physical health dimension, the pranayama and asana sadhana. For the mental health, pratyahara dharana, he has already given. And for spiritual health, dhyana samadhi. Already Ashtanga Yoga is looking at all those 4 dimensions about 3,000 years ago. Social dimension, physical dimension, mental dimension, spiritual dimension have already been delineated so long ago by Maharishi Patanjali. That is why the whole Ashtanga Yoga sadhana can enhance health at all dimensions. Another very important concept is Swara Yoga, because Swara Yoga is our ancient science. And in modern times, we can understand it as utilizing the uninostril and alternate nostril pranayama, Surya Nadi and Chandra Nadi. And the Surya Nadi is sympathetic, Chandra Nadi is parasympathetic. And there's so much of research has been done, including at our own labs, that Surya Nadi, it is activating the sympathetic. It is the activity phase, increasing oxygen consumption, metabolism. If people have low BP, if they have a low heart rate, which is pathological, you can use it and to increase body temperature. But Chandra Nadi, very useful because it reduces sympathetic activity, increases the relaxation, lowers the blood sugar and decreases BP, which is why most of the time therapeutically, we use the left nostril breathing. It is very, very useful. Similarly, with the concept of dhyana, so many benefits for pain, depression, the heart rate, anxiety, creating a sense of peace and balance, again used to reverse heart disease and reduce stress. And this is where we have to understand the Ashtanga Yoga pathway. You will see that here we have the Adhikara Yoga, the Yama and Niyama as the Adhikara Yoga. You have the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara as the Bahiranga, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi as the Antaranga and the Samyama. All these are so beautifully brought together in the system which Maharishi Patanjali has given us. But do we understand that system, or are we only interested in standing on the head all the time? We have to understand the whole system, because yoga is 24 hours living, not just 20 minutes of Shirsasana per week. That is not all that yoga is. And that is where dhyana is fixing the mind on the higher self, the seventh anga, and a one-pointed concentration that helps us to go into that samyama, which is the most important part, the antaranga. And what does Patanjali say? Deshabandha chittasya dharana, where you are fixing your mind on something. But then in the state of dhyana, you and that thing have become one. Tatra pratyayat ekatanata dhyanam. But then that comes together. Now see, the concept which we have is you become one with the meditation. You focus, but then you go into that higher state. But the medical dictionary, they say meditation is intentional, self-regulated focus. They have actually defined as meditation, but they are actually defining dharana, not dhyana. Dharana is the focusing. Dhyana is going beyond. But the modern idea is focusing is meditation. Focusing is dharana. Dhyana is a state that has to come. And this is why it is so important that we understand that in modern times there can be misunderstanding also. In some recent research, they did work. They showed that the meditation practices can reduce the stress, enhance quality of life, decrease the sleep problems, improve the domains of cognition, reduce the sympathetic and enhance cardiovascular vagal tone. They said that it changes the central nervous system, dopaminergic and other neurochemical GABA. GABA is a very important chemical because it is the inhibitory chemical that gives you self-regulation. So when you do the practices, the antaranga sadhana, the samyama practices, you are creating a capacity for self-regulation through the dopamine pathway and the GABA systems. The oxygen flow to certain parts of the brain can be enhanced. We have the functional MRI scans showing that these days, blood flow scans also. And the areas like the hippocampus, which is important for memory, prefrontal cortex, the area of the buddhi and choice, and the anterior cingulate gyrus, which is very much related to emotional control and regulation. They are all enhanced. And they find cortical thickening. Normally, as we become older, the cortex is thinning. But instead of thinning, you can actually prevent it thinning, and you can increase the gray matter volume in brain regions through the practice of dhyana. Again, your immune response can be improved. And of course, the blood pressure, insulin resistance, glucose intolerance, and oxidative stress, inflammation, which is a major issue in all communicable, non-communicable diseases, can be controlled. And they have suggested the pathways. One pathway is the reduced activation of the sympathetic adrenal system. Hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal system, you are reducing its activity, enhancing the vagal, parasympathetic, and then certain parts of the brain, you are bringing about a change through dhyana. And certain neurochemical systems, the dopamine systems, the serotonin systems, the GABA systems, you can be changing. And what does this do? Good news for all the people who are, above 60. It reduces the risk for cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease. And this is very important because as we are living longer these days, we are at a higher risk of cognitive decline, dementia, especially Alzheimer's, which is why these practices need to be brought in, not after dementia has come, but before dementia has come. That is why these practices we have to start as early as possible. And in case you have never done it till now, today is as early as possible for the rest of your life. Because today is the first day of the rest of your life. So if somebody hasn't done it till this talk, this is the chance to do it. Because if you do it today, you can prevent the worsening tomorrow. And that is why these type of practices, contemplative practices, can be used in stress-related conditions. And all the conditions, you name the condition, it can be used. In fact, in our hospital, we have used it in virtually every department, as I'll be telling you in a few moments. Because healing requires lifestyle changes, attitude changes, changes in breathing and changes in relaxation. And all of these come under yoga. You don't have to go to 4 different places. Just in the practice of yoga, all 4 can come. And this is why we want to practice what is called integrative medicine, where we bring together the traditional and the modern to help the patient care. It is a humanistic model where the patient is the center of our attention. We want to serve them by creating what is called an optimal healing environment where healing can occur. And this is why we have to move from alternative to complementary, now to integrative medicine. And that is the journey that we are making. Today it is called traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine is the new term being used. And there is a beautiful model of how all of this is happening in yoga. The biological aspects of wellness, yes, they are manifesting. Psychological aspects, yes, they are scientifically been proved to manifest. Social aspects, yes, they are manifesting. Spiritual aspects, yes, they are manifesting. And that is why yoga is the best example for the bio, psychosocial, spiritual model of wellness. And how does this happen? You have to change your perspective. We are all running around me, 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 me. We have to turn, we have to do Shirsasana like this ball. When you make the Shirsasana of the me, it becomes we. And that is how we have to change our perspective. And that is where, again, relaxation comes in, where Ayush has given us all these different systems. But at our university, we are bringing it since 2010 with the yoga therapy and music therapy that was upgraded into the Institute of Salatogenesis on 22nd August 22. And we were blessed to have Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, at that time the head of the NAC, inaugurate our institute, where we have the yoga therapy happening for 15 years with more than 100,000 people have benefited in our hospital. We have the work with the palliative. You can see our yoga therapists go into the palliative. They go into the ward, the different wards. They work with the children with special needs, where here there's a camp for children with special needs, where they all work together. We have a program called Divyanga Yoga for all our special kids, working with different cultures in the MRD area, in the rural health centers, in the health camps across all religions. And the research that has been coming out, recently we put out a book. If you're interested, you can email us. We'll send you a copy of 76 of our best studies to celebrate 76 years of Indian independence. Out of our 180 plus studies, we compiled 76 best ones, where we have worked on essential hypertension. We have worked in the psychiatric ward, chronic kidney disease, sleep deprivation in healthcare professionals, people with lung disorders, again, pregnant ladies as part of Garbha Sanskar, combining music and yoga therapy for angiography, autism spectrum, where we have done a lot of work, diabetics, lung, rhinosinusitis, Brahmari Pranayama, an amazing tool in rhinosinusitis. How can yoga help the children learn toothbrushing skills better when they have autism. We have again published in a very high impact journal. Again, a very important work is alcohol de-addiction. Yoga can have a role there also. Again, in diabetes, can you protect the kidney by yoga? We have again published on that. And how you can reduce the autism severity. A PhD work that is being presented day after tomorrow for the final dissertation at our university. Again, you go for an endodontic therapy, root canal treatment. Can the pranayama and the relaxation reduce the anxiety before root canal? We are amongst the first to have done work of yoga therapy with dentistry. This is the new connection. And I told you, psoriasis, skin, psycho, dermatology. Through yoga, the stress comes down. When stress comes down, the skin condition will resolve better. Neck pain, lower extremity function in people who have lymphedema, filaria. Filariasis is very common in this part. And can you enhance the work? And reduction of insulin resistance. Can you reduce the insulin resistance and enhance glycemic control? Again, stigma, because social health, people who have lymphedema, filariasis, there's a lot of social stigma. Can you reduce the stress of the stigma in such people? Can you reduce the functional dyspepsia? And again, many people say if you have, don't do head below the heart posture if you have eye problem. We showed that some postures are safe for a certain duration also. And again, sense of coherence. And the latest one, you do pranava pranayama where we use the sound of ah, the akara, ukara, makara. You can increase the oxygen saturation. Now, during COVID, we all had pulse oximeters and we were all checking our oxygen saturation. At that time, many of our patients, they phoned us, they said, we have recovered from COVID, but the oxygen levels are still in the low 90s or just at 89. What can I do? I cannot walk from one room to another. We started suggesting that they do the pranava pranayama using the akara, ukara, makara. And it is astonishing. From 89 to 90, they'll come up to 95 to 96 just within 5 minutes of doing the pranayama. That is the type of impact that you can document and you can work on. We all have seen the benefit. What we are trying to do is document it also. And all the students, medical students, nursing students, dental students, all of them get yoga right in the classroom in our medical college, in our nursing college. All our doctors in the doctors' meetings, they get yoga as part of awareness creation. Our nursing professionals who are new recruits, they first come to the yoga department. They learn the practices, then they go to work in the hospital. That is the type of revolution happening in our university. And celebrating with mass yoga, which has become so popular these days. And that is why receiving the blessings of our elders who are all blessing this work. So that the reason I share it is I would like others to take it up. I would like to see every hospital in the world should have a yoga therapy unit. Every doctor should be prescribing yoga along with the medicine. Because definitely we find that when working together, there can be a tremendous change, a change way beyond anything that we know of. And these are the changes that we want to see in the world. Because that is the change that will make yoga reach the world and enable India to be that Vishwa Guru. My dear Dilip Sarkar, past President, American Heart Association, after observing this work, made a comment. He said, this is 21st century medicine. And that is what we want to take. Not that we say either yoga or modern medicine, they can work together for the benefit of humanity. And when we work for the sake of humanity, then truly we are fulfilling our dharma. And at that point, we will realize the highest attitude is gratitude. Because without gratitude, we will never have that sense of seva bhavana. From kritagnyata, which is gratitude, we will have seva bhavana. And through seva bhavana, we will fulfill our manushya dharma, our responsibility of being human. So this is my small team at our university of yoga therapy and music therapy. our Dasavatara 10-member team who is creating this revolution and taking it forward for the world to enjoy. So with this, I complete my presentation. And if there are any questions or any comments, I'm willing to take them for a few minutes as per the decision of the organizers. Dhanyavada.
In the last slide, there was CYTR. What is that CYTR?
Yeah, CYTR was Center for Yoga Therapy Education Research that now has been upgraded by the recommendation of the NAC team into a School of Yoga Therapy and a School of Music Therapy, which is under the Institute of Salatogenesis Complementary Medicine.
Okay.
When
Anybody,
our
any
NAC
question?
team came, they saw that. Yes, Ji.
I think there are no questions.
Okay. Sir, thank you very much. Myself, Ganesh Ambike, Joint Secretary, Ghantali Mitra Mandal. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Balyogi ji, for a wonderful and informative lecture based on yoga therapy synthesis of traditional wisdom with modern scientific knowledge. Sir, you have taught us this difficult subject in a very simple language. I think this was your first visit in Ghantali Mitra Mandal. We have seen you in Lonavala 9th International Conference. That time Annaji was also present. I think that was our first
Yes.
visit.
Yes.
Though online, we are feeling that you are giving this lecture in present.
Thank you.
We are really obliged for spending a valuable time to speak in GMM's Diamond Jubilee Year lecture series. But sir, we are eagerly waiting you to see you personally in Thane in near future.
We will.
We know you have pursued a n number of degrees in different fields, including music. But I think yoga is your main aim, and you are using it for betterment of society. In our Annaji's words, socially relevant for so many years. Unfortunately, Annaji is no more now, but he would have been definitely pleased to see and listen you on our GMM platform. Thanks once again, Dr. Balyogi ji. Now some announcement. GMM is conducting offline as well as online lecture series on the occasion of Diamond Jubilee year of it in every month, and that was started in January 2024. So everyone is invited to attend this series throughout the year. Of course, we will announce next lecture or program on social media. Please keep watch on our FB page, Insta page, etc. Even from 6th May, we are starting Vasantik yoga classes in different centers at Thane and Mumbai. You will get this information also on social media. Thanks for our IT team for smoothly conducting today's lecture on YouTube. Thanks all sadhaks and yoga lovers who attended today's session. Now, before concluding, we will chant one Omkar in medium pitch.
Pranayam camp. Pranayam camp.
Okay, we are starting 5 days camp on pranayam, starting from coming 29th of April, evening 7 to 8. That will be in person at Sahyog and also online, especially for outstation sadhaks. Okay, we will chant one Omkar in medium pitch. Relax first. Breathe out completely. Once again, breathe in slowly. Om. Feel the vibrations. Palming. Both hands together. Keep the hands around the eyes. remove the hands. Hari Om. With this, I declare today's session is over. Thanks once again, everyone. Hari Om Tat Sat.